Hi, my name is Mary Jane, and I joined VitalSide about a year ago after struggling with long COVID and chronic fatigue for 3 years. These days, I'm feeling really good, and I'm excited to be able to share my story with you. So, 4 years ago, I was 30 years old. I was healthy, active, and busy. I had a great career as a health policy consultant. But then one day in March of 2020, I started feeling sick, and I assumed that I had the flu. But a few weeks went by and it just wouldn't go away. Instead, I kept getting sicker and developing new symptoms. After 2 months, I had a persistent fever, horrible fatigue and brain fog, severe headaches and migraines, and a bizarre array of other issues. My doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I decided to go on leave from work, but even then, I kept getting worse instead of better. My fatigue and brain fog became completely debilitating. I was confused and terrified. I started traveling out of town to see specialists at major medical centers. They tested me for everything under the sun, but my tests kept coming back normal. All these prestigious doctors sent me away without any answers or solutions. At some point, I was diagnosed with long COVID and chronic fatigue syndrome, but still, there weren't really any treatments offered, so I started trying to manage my health on my own. I was intensely limited in any kind of activity. I couldn't even talk to other people or watch TV most of the time. I could barely leave the house, and if I pushed myself even a tiny bit, I would experience horrible crashes. This continued for 3 years, and eventually I lost my job. I tried all kinds of healing approaches, from more traditional to holistic to experimental, and a few things helped a little, but nothing really helped me get better. I didn't know if I would ever recover. Eventually, I heard about brain retraining, and I was a little resistant to the idea at first because I felt like it implied that my illness was just in my head or that it wasn't real. And I thought it sounded maybe like another form of meditation or positive thinking. But I heard so many stories of people who were recovering from long COVID and chronic fatigue using brain retraining that I had to give it a try. So I looked at a few programs, and VitalSide felt like the best fit for me. And I started Rewire in January 2023. Rewire is the basic course for people with chronic health issues. I really liked it because I felt like Lindsay presented the information in a way that was clear, interesting, and relatable. Learning about the science of limbic system impairment was such a relief for me. I felt like it just explained, the root cause of all my different symptoms, and I never felt like my illness wasn't real or that it was somehow my fault. It was also really nice that I could take the course at my own pace since my energy was limited. In my first few weeks of Rewire, I started seeing small improvements in my energy and my mental clarity right away. I started feeling confident that I would recover using the science and the tools I was learning, and I started being able to let go of some of the fear I'd been living with. I practiced the exercises every day, and slowly but surely, I started gaining more and more energy. I could take longer walks, I could read more, I could cook, I could spend more time with family and friends. I could challenge myself a little bit without being afraid of a crash. I'll be honest, brain retraining every single day wasn't easy. It was hard work mentally and emotionally. A lot of times it was tedious and lonely, and sometimes I felt like my progress had stalled. But I kept at it, and I felt really supported by the Vital Side community, which is really active and so encouraging. And whenever I had a question, Lindsay was really accessible and helpful. After a few months, I had a bit of a curveball. I found out my house was full of toxic mold. So it's really incredible that by retraining my brain, I was able to heal even while I was living with that. We did get rid of the mold, and I continued to see major progress in my health. By summertime, I was able to go camping and hiking and travel. I felt like I was coming alive again. I started to think about the future. I wanted to figure out who I was after going through this ordeal, and I wanted to build a new life that was aligned with my true self. So, about 8 months after I started Rewire, I decided to sign up for Elevate, which is VitalSide's more advanced brain retraining program. It was incredibly helpful for me in this next phase of my recovery journey. Elevate helped me to do some emotional healing, to get to know myself, and to figure out what's important to me. I learned how to celebrate my progress in the moment, and I started dreaming about my future. Elevate also helped me transition to a more flexible and sustainable approach to my brain retraining practice since I was adding more and more activities back into my life. At this point, I've stopped worrying about whether I'm 100% recovered because what matters is I feel so much better and I'm able to live my life again. I'm living a lot more intentionally than I was before I got sick, and in a lot of ways, I'm healthier than I ever was before. It's not that Vital Side gave me my life back, but it empowered me to heal and to build a new life that's even better than the one I had before. So if you're watching and you're struggling with similar health issues, I encourage you to take a leap of faith and sign up for Rewire. Commit to it, stay open to the process, and take your healing into your own hands. I think you'll be amazed at the changes you'll see.